Guys, I freaking did it. I got the invite. I won an RCQ, but it did take me 3 tries this season, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Watch this video if you want to shortcut my work and win your own. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about that I think led to my success this RCQ season is deck selection. To figure out how I selected a deck for the entire RCQ season, watch this video right over here. I did it earlier on and explained everything that I did to choose the Amalia combo as the deck for me in Pioneer. Now, more important than deck selection is the number of repetitions that you get with the deck. So the major lesson that I learned from deck selection in an RCQ season is that RCQs and local tournaments reward deck mastery over metagame choice. And what I mean by that is your proficiency, your skill as a Magic player matters more than whether your deck is on the A tier or the B tier or sometimes even the C tier. That's not to say you shouldn't go ahead and pick the best deck. Again, this video right over here will tell you exactly how I picked my deck. Once you pick a deck in an RCQ season, my biggest recommendation is to stick with it at every RCQ you go to and really become the master at it, because winning a tournament is just where skill meets opportunity, right? That's luck. Skill meets opportunity. So you need to have the skill in every single one of your matchups. You have to make sure that you're making the least number of mistakes as possible. The way that you do that is you make a choice at the beginning of the season to select your deck, and you stick with it through to the end. Okay, the next lesson or the next point that I learned by winning my RCQ is that you need reps at RCQs, right? Just as it is important to get deck mastery with your deck that you picked in step 1, now you have to look at the season and you have to register for as many RCQs as you can, really. You know, I'm never going to forget this redo clip from when he won Pro Tour Firex.
I showed up against the best players in the room, and that day, that weekend, I beat them all, you know, when they were trying their hardest to beat me. And I think that's special, and I think it's something that people can understand, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to have had that moment at least once.
And that's exactly it. You know, on this day, at this particular moment with my matchups, I was the best, right? That's what it is, winning a tournament. Just on that day with the matchups that you get, again, luck and skill, or luck is skill meeting opportunity. You need to maximize, right, your statistical probability of having more opportunities. Now, that's not to say, oh, if you can only go to one RCQ in a season, you're screwed, but the odds aren't in your favor, right? Talking about reps at an RCQ also makes me want to bring up a really important point. You have a 60 card deck, right, with a 15 card sideboard. In reality, what you have, that's a terrible bracket, is a 75 card deck, okay? Now, why reps at an RCQ is important is because you have a 75 card deck, you need to build your plus 15 to what your local metagame is, right? It's really easy to net deck a core of a tier 1 deck that you want to make your own, but check out what I did. So getting reps at the RCQ helps you understand your full 75. Which brings me to my next point. Hey guys, it's Navigator. I just want to jump in here real quick. If you are getting value from this video, please like, give us a comment, and share with your friends. Here at ACV MTG, we are where you are, and we're on this journey and we're always improving and we want to get better together. Thanks so much. Okay, the third major point from winning an RCQ is an emphasis that you will win when mastery meets opportunity. So to really drive home what I mean here, I want to focus in on what actually happened. So Saturday, I went to an RCQ and I lost. I was 3-2 in 11th overall, really heartbreaking, missing out on top 8 on the breakers. So what did I did after I lost? I knew that on Sunday I had another tournament coming up. So I wasn't going to let that, my time driving, my money spent, and my time at the tournament go to waste. So immediately what I did when I got home was I wrote out a post-tournament recap just for myself. No one else was going to see it except for you guys in this clip. But it was for me to really sit down and apply something that I've talked about at a Pioneer Night video in the ACV MTG tournament series, probably link it up here, was I applied the 4 perspectives that Patrick Chapin actually writes about in his book, Next Level Magic. Highly recommend. Was I wrote down a column for each perspective and I went down every match. What happened, what could have happened, and essentially extrapolated 4 different ways to understand a single data point. So with that new knowledge of what I did, what opponent did that was good against me, I went back to the drawing board and I rebuilt the sideboard. Again, remember how I said when you get reps at RCQs, you can cater your entire 75 to your local metagame? Well, that's exactly what I decided I was going to do. What I did is I wrote out my list again by hand this way. You see, I highlighted a deck core, alternate win conditions, combo enablers, combo support, and grind potential, right? This is my little play of like, if I needed to go mid-range, this is what I had at my disposal. And in a way that kind of gave me a focused deck study. This focused deck study was probably the most valuable thing I did Saturday night because it made me, it broke me to a new threshold. It took me from someone that was really good at understanding the lines of play to full comprehension of how the 75 works together and what is valuable and what is not valuable. I can speak to specifics on Amalia, but here at ACV MTG, we are talking about theory and how to get better at competitive Magic because we are where you are. So, there are tons of content creators out there that'll talk to you about specific cards and deck selection. For me, I just want you to know that having a focused deck study that you apply to a sideboard and 60 card reconstruction after you've done a tournament recap using the 4 perspectives probably was the most powerful use of my time that I could have had Saturday. It was almost like I was glad I lost because it prepared me for the win. So in comes Sunday. I drive out to this RCQ and I am nervous, but I decided to do something different with my mindset. And that was to not tie my results to how I viewed myself. I was driving, I'm like, man, I really want to get the invite. I want to go to DC. This is a huge next step for me. I want to at least top 8, right? I realized that all of those goals were going to take me away from the gameplay, take me away from being present. That's something I've talked about before. So instead on Sunday, what I decided to do was tell myself, you know what, Navigator, I just want to play the best games of Magic I possibly can every single round, no matter what happened. So I sat down on Sunday against my opponents, and I will say I philosophically approached the game different. I wrote everything down. I never really did that before. After every game loss, I would write down the plays where I think we turned the corner in the opponent's favor. The things I did differently, the things that I needed to do better. And I approached every game with a new sideboard philosophy. And this is also from Next Level Magic. I can't recommend this book enough. So the sideboard philosophy in every matchup was, one, identify the dead cards in the matchup. So thinking back to the game, game one when I'm in game two, or game two when I'm in game three, what cards did I have in my hand that didn't do anything for me? Step two was synergize my sideboard with my game plan. So again, looking at your 15 card sideboard as really a part of a 75 card deck, you afford yourself the opportunity to just evaluate the entire 75 as, hey, this is dead, this is not dead in the matchup, until you narrow yourself down to a 60. Because in this tournament, I did things that I had never done before with the deck. For instance, my deck is largely reliant on Collected Company. Against a semifinal opponent, actually, let's talk about this story. The last round of Swiss, I was 4-0. I sit down with my opponent. I know I'm sitting in the number 2 slot, and I know that I'm a lock for top, right? I knew I was going to the playoffs. I sat down with my opponent, asked him if he wanted to draw. He wasn't familiar with Swiss round points. That's something we talked about in this video right up here. And he decided he wanted to play it out. Fine, no problem. Probably the best decision that happened to me that day. Again, luck is when skill meets opportunity. So opponent was playing Spirits, right? Mono blue Spirits at that, which is a very control heavy deck, very fast aggro. The deck that I was playing, the Amalia combo, really suffers at the hand of control. So he had probably my worst matchup of the day. And I got pummeled, right? I lost game one. I survived game two barely. And then I lost game three. And that was my first loss of the day. And I knew this opponent was going to go into the top 8 as well. I'm not going to lie, I got really nervous. So what I did is I sat down and I evaluated, why did I lose? I lost because obviously he has counter spells for my instants and sorceries, and that's one of the main ways I combo off. So how do I win? I decided, maybe I need to force them to have it. I need to make the control player play less than optimally, let's say. Expend their resources when they don't want to expend their resources. So the top 8 comes around, quarterfinals I win, semifinals. Now this is a 2-slot RCQ, so if I win the semifinal match, I get my invite. Lo and behold, sitting across from me was the only player to whom I lost in the Swiss, Mono Blue Spirits. Where Magic the Gathering is a game of limited information, I knew that at least going into this matchup, we both had an upper hand on what we would have done otherwise against our opponent. I knew exactly what he had. So I mulliganed aggressively. All right, game one. Game two, I took out Collected Companies, the primary enabler of my deck. And I put in Court of Callings, put in Aven Interrupters, right, to try and flash out and deal with his control magic on important turns, as well as to have a flyer. I put on an Archon of Emeria as another flyer, and I just played as aggressively as I could. I won. I took the lessons I learned from my only loss in the Swiss and immediately turned around and applied them in the semifinals match, where honestly I felt a lot of pressure. I knew this was a local tournament, but this was my level up moment. This was my way to get to the finals and to win in RCQ. And something that I did in that moment that I want to emphasize was that I lost, and then I learned and I applied, which let me win. And that's a lesson that I think will stick with me in competitive Magic. And I think if you can learn how to do that, no matter what the tournament, you will succeed. All right, guys, Navigator's 3-step process for winning an RCQ, again, is deck selection, link to that video below, RCQ repetitions, and 3, when mastery meets opportunity. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey to this point. This is such a huge level up moment. Again, here at ACV MTG, we are where you are. If you found any value from this video whatsoever, a really simple way to let us know is to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, share with your friends, so that we can get better as a Magic community. threw it up here on the board, but always in the description. If you're listening, check out the full video version of this podcast, of course, with the cool visual and the whiteboard at youtube.com/always choose violence MTG. And then follow us on Instagram. That's where we're the most active, super responsive, and kind of show you guys what we're doing in real time. And that's at Instagram at always choose violence MTG. Hey guys, again, this is Navigator. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya.